School.
And he was just wanting to be that to me because I didn't have my father in my life.
Cannon says the bishop never acted inappropriately toward him, yet his experiences were similar to the 4 young men now suing Long for sexual misconduct. Like the plaintiffs, he received spiritual guidance, mentoring, cars, and other generous gifts.
I can't speak on anyone else's interaction with him. All I know is what I've seen and what he's presented to me, and it has been nothing like any of these allegations.
When Cannon pursued his football dreams at Tulane University, he says it was Bishop Long who personally bought him cars to commute between Georgia and Louisiana. And he says the bishop was generous with cash.
He would just give me maybe, $100, $200 out of his pocket, never a check or anything like that. It was always money that was in his pocket that he gave to me. I can't name one spiritual son that hasn't experienced that, because that's not. I don't feel like that was a ploy to pull people in. That's his heart.
That's why Cannon says he is stunned to hear of the civil suits against the embattled preacher.
And I know the benefits, and I know they've reaped those benefits. And I'm not just talking about monetarily. I'm talking about spiritually, emotionally, and so on and so forth. And to hear those allegations, it's unbelievable.
So you think the boys are lying?
I don't think they're telling the truth.
Now, Anthony Cannon is no longer with the Detroit Lions, in part because of a shoulder injury, but also because of some troubles he had with the law. And he says it was at that point that Bishop Long cut him off, in his words. He says that's the best thing, though, the bishop could have done for him during his troubled time in his life. You'll hear more about that coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
It almost sounds like he became dependent, and he referred to cars. How many cars did he actually receive from him?
He says Bishop Long actually bought him 3 cars. The first one going into Tulane, and he says he wrecked it. He described it as foolish behavior, and he wrecked it. The second one, he says, was destroyed during Hurricane Katrina while he was at Tulane, and he says the third, the bishop bought just as a way of saying, thanks for finishing 4 years of college. I appreciate your hard work, despite you going through some troubled times and still pulling through. But he does admit that he did get a bit dependent on him, and he gets into that coming up tonight at 6, and what happens when you get cut off, and he says why that was actually good for him.
We'll be watching at 6. Thanks, Portia.